Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to today's show. I have a very special guest. It's a woman I've only known virtually, so I'm finally getting to talk to her in person and share her with you. She's known as the Queen of No Regrets. Please welcome Jan Janzen.
Oh, thank you for having me here, Forbes.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is an absolute pleasure, because when I met you in that little teeny box, I just was so drawn to you. Just who you are, what you talk about, and how you show up. Why is that so important, do you think?
I think it's training. I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. It was always about how you showed up because we were representing God. It doesn't get any more serious than that.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met, aside from at my front door, a Jehovah's Witness. Do they all look like you?
No, they don't. They come in all different sizes.
I'm sure. Now, so that's a formal religion.
Yes, it is.
And your parents were that. Were they always that, or did they convert from something else?
They converted just before I was born. So out of my entire family, I'm the only child that was actually born into the Jehovah's Witness religion. And so I'm the only one that didn't get to celebrate Christmas and birthdays and all that stuff, whereas my older sisters and brother did.
Because that's part of, oh, that's interesting. How much older are your brothers and sisters?
10, 12, and 14 years older. I was introduced as the mistake for the first,
Oh, wow.
first 10 years of my life. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. I meet a lot of kids who have been told that, and it's interesting to see how it washes over you. Being told that you're a mistake, you apparently didn't faze you at all. You're like, I'm here, who cares, right? So what was the catalyst for them to become Jehovah's Witnesses?
I think it was my dad. He was traveling. He was an international food buyer for Canada Safeway.
Okay.
And so he spent a lot of time in the Orient. And he was in one of the temples in Japan. And he was kind of mocking the many-faced gods that they have in the Orient. And the man looked at him and he said, "Well, Peter, you believe in a three-headed God." And my dad went, "I do not." And he goes, "Yeah, you do. You're a Baptist."
Oh.
And then he came home and he started to research the religion he was attached to and found out that, yes, they did believe in the Trinity, looked for a religion that didn't believe in the Trinity. That happened to be Jehovah's Witnesses, called them, and the rest is history.
And your mom was okay with that too?
When you know my dad, it's not really an option.
But how about the kids? Did you ever talk to them about all of a sudden we're doing something? Because the religion is one thing, but it permeates when there's no birthdays and no holidays. That's got to be jarring for a little kid, don't you think?
I'm sure it was for them. I don't know what it was like because I never had those things.
Wow.
I celebrated my first Christmas at 40 and had my first birthday at 40.
This is a whole book that we need to do. Well, because I can't quite comprehend living in a world. One of my dear friends is Amish, and he also left. And it's an interesting conversation, what it must be like to see, because I grew up very isolated, but I watched a lot of television, and I could see movies and the red carpet and traveling, and I wanted that. And I ended up doing that because I saw it. Did you see television?
Yes, but very limited.
Okay.
And very regulated.
All right, so there's a whole conversation that we could go down about religion, and that's going to be an entire another show, because I think it's fascinating. But the thing that really intrigues me is that as a Jehovah's Witness, part of what you do is knock on doors.
Yes.
And that seems to lead to very good salespeople.
It does, because there isn't tougher training.
Say that again?
There is not tougher training than being a Jehovah's Witness.
I'm going to have to be nicer to the people who knock on my door now. I'm just kind of like, nah. So how old were you when you started?
I was taken since I was a baby in a carriage. And then by the time I was 6, I was started to give my own little presentations and sell the Watchtowers and Awakes. And by the time I was 8...
For people who don't know, this is the magazine called...
The Watchtower and Awake. So that's the religious...
That's the name of it? Watchtower and Awake.
Watchtower is one, and the Awake is the other. So we had 2 magazines, and we sold them as a pair. So it was... That's bundling right there. Isn't that cool? Never even thought of that. And then we had books and things like that we sold, but we were often selling magazines.
Okay.
So that's
You're a little kid. I just have to comprehend this, because as you guys know at home, my entire world is about pitching. I pitch on Home Shopping. I pitched on infomercials. I've never knocked on a door to pitch. I don't know if I could. I think that's an interesting... I think nowadays you'd get shot. I just think people don't want to be bothered in their house. Did that ever faze you?
Oh, I had dogs sicked on me. Someone turned a hose on me. I was mobbed when I was a missionary in Ecuador by an angry village. I had doors slammed in my face.
But you're kind of little. You got mobbed and you survived? Let's get real about this.
Yeah, I did. Well, obviously I'm here, so I did survive.
You are here, but did you get to, I mean...
Yeah, it was scary. We were, my husband and I were missionaries in Ecuador.
Wow.
And we were going into a village just before Christmas, and they didn't like it. And all of a sudden, the mob came at me. It was over 100 people in the village, and I was leading the group of women. And they pushed me and said, "Get her, she's the gringa."
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, it was scary.
You might not have survived.
It was scary.
Yeah, Tennessee Williams wrote a play about this. How not only did the woman not survive, but they ate her. Just so you know. That's what my reference is going. And you're here. Oh, doesn't... I'm so glad.
So growing up in that religion with all of that opposition, because you faced it every day. You weren't celebrating birthdays at school. You weren't participating in Halloween. You weren't standing up for...
So let me ask a question. I'm now reliving and working out all the scars of my past. I teach this because apparently I tell people who's right for breakthrough. Anyone who ever had a mother and father. Doesn't matter if you love them, they didn't love you, they were alcoholics, or they had too much money. There seems to be issues. You, my friend, there's like a whole boatload of possible issues, but I don't see any of that on you. You literally show up so joyful and so present. Because I do want to fast forward. We're going to spend an entire episode on just my transition from being a Jehovah's Witness. But at 17, you did choose to leave.
I chose to leave home.
Oh, okay.
But the reason I left home was to go to Quebec from British Columbia. I moved myself to Montreal so that I could do my ministry as a Jehovah's Witness in French, because I was fluent in French. So I wanted to be able to do that. So I said to Dad, I want to leave. And our school was not on semesters. So I went to the principal and told him I wanted the credits so I could leave in February. And out of an entire school, I was the only student that graduated in February. And I got on a bus in May, and I moved myself to Montreal. They didn't even come to the bus station to say goodbye to me. And my dad said, "If you leave, you're not coming home." And I said, "Don't worry, Dad, I'm not." And they sold the house.
Oh my gosh. You know, I so wish I'd met you at that age, because I think we would have been Thelma and Louise. I've never met a woman who's been this feisty. I was a kid who skipped a year of school when they all said you can't do that, and I'm like, well, why not? And they ran out of answers, and they all looked at each other. These administrators like, well, I guess we get to give her what she wants because we can't figure out why not to. Not many little girls at that age, and I'm sorry, but 17 still is young to me, think that way or that independent and that bravado. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Where does that come from for you?
It's possibly heritage. My dad is Russian, so there's...
Me too. I saw you, Thelma and Louise.
So there may be something there. But I think it's just the upbringing. You're really taught to be very steadfast in what you believe and what you want.
Right.
There's no wishy-washy. You don't... When you carry a card that says, "I will not take blood and I will die instead of taking a blood transfusion," and you have to have that card with you 24/7, that's a pretty determined decision. And so from the time and you didn't stand up for the Lord's Prayer, you didn't stand up for the national anthem, you were always different. So I think that's where my impetus in decision making came from, as I was trained in it literally from birth.
Wow. I would love to unpack this conversation because it's fascinating to me to think that a religion is that permeating and separatist, kind of really has some sort of effect on you. But let's assume you're good. Now you're 17, you're ministering in Montreal, in French, which my head just goes, what? And then what happens?
I did that for a few years, ended up moving to Toronto, met the man who became my first husband, and we got married. I was only 20. Because you know there's no sex before marriage, so you get married young, and that's pretty typical. And we were married for 18 years. We spent 4 years in Ecuador as missionaries, so that's where I was mobbed, and that's where I learned Spanish.
What did you want to be when you were little?
I didn't think I was ever going to grow up, Forbes, because I always was told that Armageddon was just around the corner. So I wasn't going to get to school. I was never going to graduate from school. I didn't have children because who would want them to go through the Armageddon scene that was painted for us. So everything, I never thought that I was going to get old. I just turned 64. I can't even believe that I'm 64 because I should never even be here. I should be in paradise as far as I was concerned.
I
So
want
it
to
was
do a quick little transition for everybody who's watching, that because your mission now is very powerful. You are really good at making decisions.
I'm brilliant at making decisions.
Let me restate that. She is brilliant at making decisions. I could absolutely unequivocally say I suck at making decisions. I do. And why do you think that is? What do I need to do to make better decisions? I labor over things way too long. Give me some suggestions.
You need to decide that you're going to become good at making decisions.
That's a bit tough decision. That's not fair.
A lot of people don't make good decisions because they're afraid of the consequences.
Yes, or they create yes. You're right or you're wrong, and yes.
Right.
Okay.
So my attitude is it's a no fail situation, because even if I fail, I learn, or something good comes out of it. And
I preach that even if I fail, I learn. But the decision thing, interesting. Do you snap your finger? Do you count to 5 or anything, and do anything specific,
no,
or
I just decide. I tap into my gut. What is my gut feeling? And our abdominal brain that is in there is far more intuitive than anything that goes on up here.
Okay, she needs to say that for everybody's sake. Restate what you just said.
We all have what's called an abdominal brain.
Okay.
Okay, it's called the enteric nervous system. And it is much smarter than anything that goes on up here.
We, in layman's term, call it your gut feeling,
Your
right?
gut feeling,
Okay.
your intuition. So, but there is actually a something in there that helps you make those decisions. And if
You hear that?
And if we paid attention to it, so I've now trained mine that it's like yes, no, that's it. Yes or
Now
no.
that's interesting. I've trained mine to yes, no.
Yes or no. And the problem is that most people will get the gut feeling to do something and then they don't pay attention.
Oh, we're all guilty of that, except you.
So then what happens is that it's like you telling your best friend, you should do this, and they never listen to you. And we need to listen to it, because then that's how.
All right, let me take that one step further, because I coach a lot of people. Let's assume you have yes, no. You say yes. Mm-hmm. What's your strategy for acting out on the yes to the end of its conclusion? Like I said, I'm going to do that.
Then I take the next step, whatever that is. And then the next step and the next step.
Do you teach this?
Yes, I do.
I need to sign up. And I never say that to anybody. But I'm like, I think I need some help in decision making.
Well, it's the foundation of our entire life. And that's why I decided that I should be teaching this, because we're trained how to eat, drive, what to dress, how to do your hair. You're trained in all that kind of stuff.
Okay, I'm going to blow you guys away. Not only are you good at decision making, but you like to stick with things for a very short period of time. So in the time that we have left on the show, I want to go down the Jan path of fun decisions that you've made that you wanted to do. So you got married. How long were you married for?
I was married for 18 years.
And then what happened?
I came home one day after we had left the Jehovah's Witnesses together, and my husband said, I don't want to be married to you anymore.
His decision.
His decision.
You taught him too well.
That one did shake me.
Okay. So that's over. How old are you now?
64.
No, at that point.
Oh, I was 38 at the time.
So you're really young. What is the next thing you do?
Well, he moved out very quickly, and I was in a great relationship with someone. I was in a network marketing company at the time, and we ended up becoming partners for very shortly after.
Okay. But I also have to backtrack. At 19, you bought your first franchise.
I did. I bought a franchise with my mom. It was a Molly Maid franchise.
Okay.
I hated it. I
Okay.
hated having employees, so I did it for a year. My mom would not buy me out. She said no. She said either you stick with it or you lose your money. I go, good, I lose my money. And I walked away.
That one decision, I'm so very proud of you. I would love to have had a coach like you back then. Okay, what's next, work-wise?
I moved myself to Montreal.
Okay.
And there I did all kinds of work in French. And I sold and I ran offices and did all kinds of things. And then I moved to Toronto, and then we moved to Vancouver, and then I moved to Ecuador. And then my second husband and we traveled the world for 9 years.
Do you kind of see why Jan is called the Queen of No Regrets? Having done all of these things, at some point you're like, I exhausted all these possibilities and had a great life, yes?
Oh, yes, if I died today, I'd be totally satisfied.
See, I don't know many people who can say that. Now I'm going to drop a bomb. Of all the things that you've done, Jan, you shocked me a couple of days ago. What else did you do? Sorry, wait, you're going to just laugh. Go ahead.
I started a pole dancing business.
Right. Doesn't she look like a pole dancer? Typical pole dancer. No, and you tell the story that you went to a party.
I went to a party. I was homeless at the time. It was a rough...
Whoa, you don't get to just say, I was homeless at the...
I was homeless.
How did you end up homeless?
Business didn't go well. Business decision didn't go well.
Okay.
And I ended up homeless.
And were you okay with that?
Well, I don't think you're ever okay with it, but yeah, it was quite the experience. It was different. I'd never been homeless before, and so I was invited to a stagette, a bachelorette party, and it was pole dancing, and I hated it. I hated every single second of it, and I couldn't wait to get out of there and go home to the basement floor I was sleeping on at a friend's. And that night I got an entire download, and it was all about this pole dancing thing. And I got up in the morning and said, "Okay, God, I guess we're pole dancing," and that was it. And I went and...
That's a title of a book. Okay, God, I guess we're pole dancing.
and so I found an investor, and I found someone who could teach me how to pole dance, because I didn't know how to pole dance, and I didn't like pole dancing. And I set up an entire business called A Pole Lot of Fun.
A pole lot of fun.
And it was a lot of fun. And then I stopped doing that too. And that's, when somebody asked me yesterday, how many businesses have you had? I don't remember. A lot. That's really all I know. I've had a lot. I've done a lot of different things. Because if I don't want to do it, I just don't. I do something
honestly,
different.
I've met lots of people. I don't think I've ever met anybody like you. And I think that's a good thing. No, having met you now, I think you're very inspiring, because I don't like people who are sheep. And most people, I think, are. They follow whatever the norm is. And a couple of wolves go to the right, and you're on your own, or you're alone, or you're trying to figure out your pack. But this is a very unique conversation. Do you know that about you?
I'm starting to realize that and appreciate it, thanks to you, Forbes. But I guess I've also hung out with some really cool people in my life who, no, they haven't been like me, but they've gone along with me. Like my second husband, he was a medical doctor, and he was pretty out of the box as a doctor. But I said to him, I want to travel, and I went off for 4 years before he could join me.
I want to bring this around because we're going to be running out of time in a few minutes. Something happened to your husband. What was that?
He passed away almost 3 years ago.
From?
He had a form of cancer that grew on his head, outside of his head. It was probably...
But this is a really interesting conversation. His form of cancer started as a little mole,
It started as a little mole. It's called squamous cell carcinoma.
Right.
And he decided not to take care of it. I believe it's because he realized he had dementia and Alzheimer's, and he did not want to live with that.
Oh, wow.
And so he chose to let the cancer take him out. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to watch, as you can well imagine, and I had to honor his decision, and I did.
How long was that journey?
It was about 4 years, and it was really bad the last 2. And
what would you say to caregivers who go through what you're going through or went through?
Don't feel bad about feeling horrible. Don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up for wishing it's over, for wishing that you never had to do this, for hating sometimes every minute and hating the person that you're having to take care of. Because it is tough. It is the toughest thing I've ever done.
I hear that. I mean, I did that with my parents. I can't imagine doing that with a spouse.
Yeah. And I had no family support, not from my family or from his. So I brought in a full-time nurse, but it still falls on you. You're still the wife, and you're still watching it, and you're still knowing that it is inevitable what's going to happen.
Right.
So there's nothing easy about it.
How long ago was that?
It'll be 3 years next month.
I watched you move on Zoom, because you live in Canada, I live in Florida. So I watched recently you moved.
I did.
You fulfilled a bit of a new dream. You went back to Vancouver Island?
I went back to Vancouver Island. Mm-hmm. That's where my first husband and I had escaped to when we left the Jehovah's Witnesses, so it's kind of ironic. But yes, I woke up April 1st. I was selling already the property that I had beside mine, and I woke up on April 1st and I said, I think I should sell the house. So I talked to the realtor who was selling the other one, and I said, Tracy, can you list my house too? And she said, yeah, absolutely. And I started packing that day. And the house was sold in a very short period of time. And I only had 3 people go through it. And I decided who was going to buy both of the properties. And it was those people that bought it because I knew they were the right people for the homes. And then I looked for a home, and I looked at only 4 homes, and I picked one. And I decided that I wanted that house. And there were other people that wanted that house, but I got that house because it was my house. And I knew that. And I moved in, and 2 days later, we started renovations, and I got all the renovations done in 6 weeks. So I have now been in the home 2 months, and I love it.
Right after you give me an invitation to come visit you, can you look at our audience and tell them the joy of being able to make decisions and why they call you the Queen of No Regrets?
The way I feel about life is that we have no idea how long we're here. And watching someone that I loved die early on in his life, I knew, it was confirmation for me that living that life of no regrets, of just doing it, like, just do it. When Nike says just do it, just do it. Because if you don't, I don't want to be lying on my deathbed thinking, oh, I should have done this, I could have done this, I would have done this if. Just stop and just do it. Because there's nothing bad that's going to come out of doing it. You're already doing something. You're doing something that you don't like. So you're already doing something. So just do something different. Do something you're passionate about. Do something you love. Because nobody is telling you can't do it. It's only this little voice in your head that came from your mother, your father, your religion, or whatever. And it's all BS. This is your life. Do what you want to do, because this is your flesh and bone. This is me. This is my heart beating. And this is me I have to live with. And I am not going to lie on that deathbed, and I am not going to have regrets at the end of my life, because if I died today, I would not have one regret, Forbes. Not one.
I don't think I've ever truly met somebody who could say that and mean it. Have you?
No.
Yeah. Tell us what you're up to and how do we get in touch with you?
I want to help other entrepreneurs, especially I love working with women, because I think we work very hard at pleasing everyone else. And I think we need to stop
absolutely.
that. We need to stop that. We need to start thinking about ourselves. So I would love working with women. I want women to be wealthy. I want women to be doing what they want to do. And I want to change the world with women.
And so you're out there speaking. You have a workshop that you do?
Mm-hmm. Workshop that I do.
How do we get in touch with you?
JanJanzen.com.
Is there anything that you haven't said that you would like to? I want you to be able to leave the show with no regrets. I can't believe I said that.
I love this line. Indecision is a decision. Indecision is a decision. It is the decision to stay stuck. So I'm going to encourage everyone. If you've got a decision you've been hanging on to for a long time, pee or get off the pot. That's what my mom used to say to me. Pee or get off the pot. Because making a decision, it's either yes or no. There's no maybe. It's either hell yes or it's hell no. There is no maybe in my world.
I'm giving you a freaking hell yes to Jan Janzen. All right, you guys, what a phenomenal interview. I hope you take advantage of this. Meet my dear friend Jan Janzen and learn to say hell yes. Wow. Until next time. Bye, everybody.